You wake up to your alarm buzzing. You reach out groggily to snooze it, but instead of pressing the button, the alarm clock melts. Your hand is glowing. In a panic, you jump out of bed, and your feet leave scorch marks on the floor. Yep, you've woken up with the ability to control fire. Before you even have your morning coffee, your powers are already complicating life. Toast burned to ash. Your shower turns to steam before it touches you. And your poor pet dog is giving you that please don't set me on fire look. So, what do? Save the world? Accidentally light the curtains on fire? Or become the subject of every government's next surveillance program? Let's explore what waking up with superpowers would really mean. And trust me, it's not as glamorous as Hollywood makes it seem. Fire manipulation? In theory, it sounds amazing, but scientifically, it's both fascinating and terrifying. Your body would need to produce and withstand extreme heat, which is no small feat. The average flame burns at around 1000 degrees Celsius or 1800 degrees Fahrenheit. To generate that heat, your cells would need to release massive amounts of energy, far beyond what humans are capable of. But here's the kicker. Heat doesn't just stay in one place. If you're throwing fireballs, your surroundings would heat up too. Oxygen would be consumed rapidly, leaving you gasping for air, and nearby objects could ignite unintentionally. Congratulations, you're a walking wildfire. And then there's the question of control. Fire spreads chaotically, so without some mechanism to contain it, you'd probably burn down your house before making it to breakfast. Moving objects with your mind seems like a dream, but physics might disagree. Lifting a car with telekinesis would require the same amount of force as lifting it with your arms. Where does that energy come from? Your brain would need to output a ridiculous amount of energy, far more than it's designed for. Fun fact, your brain uses about 20 watts of power, enough to light a dim bulb. To move a car, you'd need the power output of a small power plant. Enjoy the migraines. Shape-shifting is a fan favorite, but the biology is a nightmare. To turn into another person or even an animal, your body would need to rearrange its cells and adjust your DNA. Here's the problem. Rapid cellular transformation would create immense metabolic stress. Your cells would divide and die at an alarming rate, possibly aging you prematurely. And if you're growing extra limbs or wings, where is the extra mass coming from? Are you pulling atoms out of thin air? Physics is just shaking its head at this point. Now, let's stay away from the science and zoom out to global politics. You, with your fire powers and mind-bending abilities, aren't just a human anymore. You're a strategic asset. The moment you reveal your powers, you're on every intelligence agency's radar. Think about it. If one person can destroy a building or start a wildfire with a flick of their wrist, that's a national security threat. Governments might try to recruit you for the greater good, aka their agendas. The military would be salivating at the idea of using you as a weapon. And if you refuse, you might find yourself disappeared into a secret lab faster than you can say Area 51. Let's not forget the global impact. Other countries would either fear or try to replicate your powers. Imagine a superpower arms race, with nations experimenting on soldiers or civilians to create their own superhumans. This could lead to an entirely new kind of warfare, one where battles aren't fought with missiles, but with individuals capable of mass destruction. It's less Avengers, more international chaos. Now, let's bring it down to the personal level. Superpowers might make you famous, but fame isn't always a blessing. Your neighbors might start out impressed, but admiration can quickly turn into fear. What happens when someone with pyrokinesis loses their temper? People might ostracize you, or worse, try to drive you out of town. You'd go from local hero to social pariah in no time. On the flip side, TikTok challenges like #FireHandsDance would explode. Influencers would flood your DMs asking for collaborations. But with fame comes scrutiny. Every mistake, every accidental spark would be dissected and criticized. Let's not forget the clock is ticking. You only have 24 hours. How do you use your powers effectively? The first thing you'd need to do is figure out the limits of your powers. Can you ignite things without touching them? What's the maximum range of your flames? This is your science experiment moment, preferably far from anything flammable. If you're feeling altruistic, you could spend your day helping people, extinguishing wildfires, providing heat to areas struck by extreme cold, scaring out that one neighbor who keeps parking in front of your driveway. On a bigger scale, you could target major issues. Could you use your powers to melt polar ice caps responsibly without flooding entire countries? Could you disrupt armed conflicts by showing up as an unstoppable force? Every action has consequences. Using your powers to stop a war in one place might escalate tensions elsewhere. Even small acts, like helping a friend, could ripple into unforeseen problems. As the clock strikes midnight, your powers fade. You're back to being a regular person. The fire is gone, but the impact of your action isn't. Did you make the world better, or did you leave it in chaos? You might wake up to a world that views you as a hero, or a world that's terrified of what else might be out there. And as you sip your non-superheated coffee, you'll wonder, was it all worth it? So, what would you do if you woke up with superpowers for a day? Would you save the world, expose corruption, or just have a little fun messing with your friends? Maybe you'd fly across the planet, lift impossible weights, or finally get revenge of that one guy who caught you in traffic. Do you actually need superpowers to change the world? Think about it. The greatest minds, the bravest leaders, the most inspiring people in history, none of them had laser vision or telekinesis. They changed the world with their intelligence, their courage, and their persistence. And guess what? So can you. And remember, even without superpowers, you can still make an extraordinary impact. Because at the end of the day, real power isn't about flying or reading minds. It's about how you use what you already have.